Windows 11 was trumpeted as the future of personal computing, smarter, faster, and powered by AI. But in late 2025, adoption stalled, support for Windows 10 vanished, and millions of everyday PCs suddenly did not make the cut. Why is Bill Gates so worried as loyal users quit in record numbers, and could this collapse threaten the very legacy of Windows itself? The answer starts with the promises and the consequences few saw coming. Longtime Windows users once counted on their operating system to be reliable, familiar, and under their control. But by the end of 2025, that sense of trust has fractured across every corner of the Windows community. Small business owners who depend on stable workflows and tight budgets face a stark reality. Half their computers, sometimes more, cannot run Windows 11 without costly upgrades. For many, replacing dozens of perfectly usable machines means tens of thousands of dollars in unexpected expenses. IT managers in clinics, schools, and local governments describe a scramble to inventory aging PCs, only to discover that essential systems are locked out by a missing security chip or an unsupported processor. Even home users, including families and freelancers, find themselves shut out. A 6-year-old laptop that still handles everyday tasks is now labeled obsolete despite showing no signs of slowing down. Gamers and creative professionals who invested heavily in high-performance rigs just a few years ago encounter upgrade blockers not because of speed or memory, but because their hardware lacks a specific chip or falls short of an arbitrary CPU cutoff. Many report frustration as their machines, still powerful for video editing or demanding games, are denied access to new features and security updates. Across online forums, the stories echo: parents repurposing old Windows 10 machines for schoolwork, hobbyists forced to choose between unsupported software or buying new parts, and small businesses delaying upgrades as long as possible to avoid financial strain. The sense of exclusion runs deep. For some, it is about the sudden loss of ownership. Hardware they paid for is now considered insufficient by corporate decree. For others, it is about the risk. Running unsupported Windows 10 means accepting growing security threats, but upgrading means accepting costs they never planned for. In every group, the old promise that Windows would work for everyone on nearly any machine has been replaced by a new reality. The user exodus is not just a matter of numbers, but a reflection of broken trust across the people who once formed the backbone of the Windows ecosystem. The path to Windows 11 begins with a technical checkpoint that few saw coming. In 2021, Microsoft announced that every device must include a Trusted Platform Module version 2.0. This chip, built for cryptographic security, became the gatekeeper to the new operating system. Alongside TPM, only central processing units from late 2017 or newer were allowed, and secure boot became mandatory, locking out millions of computers based on firmware and processor alone. For many, these requirements were more than a technical hurdle, they were a financial shock. Consider a small business owner running an accounting firm in the Midwest. Her office relies on 48 workstations, most purchased between 2017 and 2019. On paper, these machines still perform every task required: spreadsheets, payroll, tax software. But with Windows 11, half are suddenly labeled incompatible. The upgrade quote arrives over $20,000 to replace just the unsupported units. That figure does not cover labor, lost productivity, or the cost of migrating sensitive client data. The owner faces a decision with no good outcome: either absorb the expense now or risk running Windows 10 beyond its support deadline, exposing the business to security holes and compliance violations. The legal checklist grows longer. Insurance providers start asking about unsupported operating systems, hinting at higher premiums or outright denial of coverage. Regulatory frameworks, HIPAA for healthcare, PCI DSS for payment processing, warn that unpatched machines could lead to fines or lost certifications. IT consultants advise that workarounds and registry hacks might buy time, but will not satisfy auditors or cyber insurers. For this business, the technical rules are not abstract. They translate directly into invoices, risk assessments, and sleepless nights. Across the country, similar stories unfold. School districts, clinics, and nonprofits audit their fleets, only to find that even enabling TPM in the BIOS will not save older central processing units from the cutoff. Some turn to refurbished hardware, but prices spike as demand surges. Others try unsupported installs, knowing that future updates may break their systems without warning. The promise of a more secure Windows becomes a burden measured in real dollars and operational headaches. The fallout ripples through every checklist, every budget line, and every decision about what to upgrade and what to abandon. Microsoft's requirement for a Microsoft account during Windows 11 setup has rewritten the rules for how people interact with their devices. For many, what once felt like a personal computer now acts more like a managed appliance. The shift is immediate and impossible to ignore. On new installations, the option to create a local account disappears. Instead, users must connect to the internet and sign in with a Microsoft account, or the setup simply stalls. For creative professionals, this change lands with a thud. A freelance designer, used to working offline on sensitive projects, finds she can't even reach the desktop without first surrendering her email, phone number, and a connection to Microsoft's cloud. The familiar comfort of a local profile, one that never left her laptop, has been replaced by a system that assumes every user wants to sync files, settings, and even passwords to the cloud. She describes the new workflow as a constant negotiation with pop-ups and prompts for OneDrive, Copilot, and Microsoft 365, even when all she wants is to open her design software and work in peace. Gamers face similar frustrations. A high-end rig built for performance and privacy now demands online verification before it will finish setup. Some resort to third-party tools or command line workarounds, but each update threatens to close these loopholes. For those who value control, the feeling is clear: the system no longer belongs to them. IT administrators in schools and clinics describe the headaches of deploying dozens or hundreds of machines in environments where internet access is limited or tightly controlled. Scripts that once created local accounts now fail, forcing admins to create dummy Microsoft accounts, wasting hours and exposing sensitive systems to new risks. One IT manager sums it up: "We spend more time working around Microsoft's account requirements than actually supporting our users." The mandatory account policy does not just change how people log in, it alters the entire relationship between user and operating system. What was once a tool ready to serve any task now feels like a gatekeeper to a larger ecosystem, one that is always watching, always selling, and always just out of reach for those who want to stay offline. Artificial intelligence was supposed to be the centerpiece of Windows 11's promise. Microsoft Copilot, launched as the system's built-in AI assistant, now occupies a permanent spot on the taskbar. The company touts Copilot as a productivity booster, capable of summarizing documents, drafting emails, and even suggesting code. But beneath the surface, Copilot's integration has sparked a new wave of skepticism. Privacy experts point to Copilot's deep access to user data, warning that every keystroke, search, and file interaction can be analyzed to improve the AI's performance. In a recent panel, a security researcher in her 30s described how Copilot's telemetry, data sent back to Microsoft, extends far beyond crash reports or usage statistics. She notes, "The AI needs context to work, so it is constantly scanning what you do. That means your work habits, your documents, even your clipboard are fair game." Market analysts see a different pattern. Copilot's design fits seamlessly into Microsoft's broader shift toward recurring revenue. By linking Copilot features to Microsoft 365 subscriptions and cloud storage, the company has created a system where advanced AI capabilities unlock only for paying users. One analyst in his 30s explains, "It is no accident that Copilot's best tools are behind a paywall. When your business depends on subscriptions, you design your software to nudge people toward those services." A Microsoft spokesperson, in a short recorded statement, insists that Copilot is safe and private by design. She emphasizes that users can opt out of certain features and that data is processed securely in the cloud. Still, the trust gap remains. For many, the combination of mandatory accounts, persistent cloud connections, and AI-driven telemetry feels less like progress and more like a loss of control. The old model, buy once and use forever, has vanished. In its place stands a system that rewards ongoing payment and continuous data sharing, making the personal computer feel less personal with every update. Right now, over 40% of Windows users remain on unsupported systems, proof that trust, not just technology, shapes our digital lives. As Microsoft doubles down on AI and tighter control, the real test is whether users will still feel at home. The future of computing hangs in that balance.